Okay, folks, we're live. All right. Thanks for joining me for morning moves on the tube. Let's get started. All right. Go ahead and come into child's pose on your mat. And you're going to come into child's pose either with your knees together or your knees wide. So check it out and see how it feels. And let's do it with the toes, the tops of the feet on your mat rather than toes curled under. It's an option. But let's do it with the tops of the feet on the mat. And when you come down into child's pose, before you come all the way down, walk your hands forward as far as you can. So you're really getting a nice stretch through the side waist, and then your elbows are off of the mat, and your forehead can drop down towards the mat. So really inch the fingertips forward and move the tailbone back. And breathe into your body big and full so that you feel your rib cage expanding and almost like flattening out left and right because of the restriction of the space by being all squished up in child's pose. Right? And the next time you breathe in, focus on how the breath lifts the spine away from your little pod, your little child's pose pod. Right? And notice any places along your spine where you feel a stretch or emphasis, right, of the breath there, of that expansion there, the lift of your spine. And do that one more time. Inching forward with the fingertips. Deepening that inhale. Really relax into the exhale, but keep the arms reaching forward, the elbows lifted. Good. Now on your next breath in, let's come forward to hands and knees. Keep your wrists, the wrist creases almost parallel to the front of your mat. And then let's place the shoulders just behind the wrists. Stretch your left foot and then your right foot back and come into plank pose. And then push forward so that the heels are right over the widest part of your feet, the balls of your feet, and your wrists and shoulders are aligned. And let's lengthen through the top crown of the head. Draw the sternum and forward and broaden across your collarbones. So spread the shoulders away. Yeah, let's make this intense. Firm the abdominal wall up towards the spine. Let the sit bones drop back and slightly up. Stay nice and strong here. And on your next exhale, slowly release up and back into downward facing dog. And resist the urge to adjust your down dog, to step it shorter. So keep it kind of long, so you would not have to move as we float forward into plank pose to that nice extended plank pose. Strong thighs coming forward into plank, and then floating the hips up and back slowly into down dog. Don't move your feet. Make it a nice long downward facing dog. Good. In the downward facing dog, heels are dropping towards the floor. There might be a slight bend in the knees. That's okay. But either way, look back and see your heels over or behind the widest part of your feet. Now bring your awareness to your hands without looking at them. Bring your awareness to your hands and notice if you've got more pressure in the left or the right and see if you can balance that out. Keep all that balance as you Lift the heels and then roll forward back into plank pose. Full breath in, plank pose. And exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. Last one here. Good. And then next breath in, come forward to plank pose. One here, and exhale, drop your knees down to the mat. Keep your toes curled under this time. Move your seat towards the heels, stretching the plantar fascia and maybe even the calves of your legs. So really keep the elbows lifted, long arms, seat moving towards the heels, toes curled under. Okay, now this is everybody's favorite posture. Walk your hands back towards your knees, sit up onto the heels, really stretching the plantar fascia of the feet. Good. And then if your toes feel funky, come forward and stretch, keep the toes curled under, lift the knee, pull it forward, and then slide the foot back with the toes curled under. This is just gonna line up all the toes, just in case, right? And then sit back onto the heels. Make sure the heels aren't splaying out to the sides. They're still lifted up. You can lighten the weight just by lifting up away from the heels. I know this is your favorite pose. It's really good for us. And breathe. Why is it good for us? The plantar fascia of the feet become contracted and you get plantar fasciitis. The plantar of your fascia of your feet don't get enough support. We're walking around, we're flattening our feet out. There's all kinds of stagnancy that can come, and this gives us a nice stretch and moves into the calves so the calves don't get tightened and contribute to this condition. Take another deep breath in here. And as you exhale, walk your hands back out, and I like to slap the tops of my feet onto the floor. I can't do it too loudly because I am in an apartment building. I don't know if the people are back downstairs, and they have a small child, so I just don't think it's very nice. All right, so let's curl the toes under. Oh yeah, feel those toes, and lift your hips to downward facing dog. Okay, now let's take the feet left and right towards the long edges of your mat. And let's look forward and take the hands back, one hand print, and as wide as your mat as well. So you're a little bit like one of those water skater bugs, right? A really big one. I was listening to an entomologist, and she was talking about these bugs can be up to 2 feet in diameter. These water skater bugs. Have you ever seen them floating on top of the surface of the water? All right, so now in your water skater bug down dog, push into your heels and lift those sit bones really up high, almost as if you're trying to exaggerate that lift of the sit bones. And as you do this, notice that you get a little bit of a different stretch through the backs of the hamstrings, the backs of the legs and the hamstrings. All right, now lift yourself up a little bit so you're more in the water skater bug shape, so the back feels like it's moving parallel. Slide your right hand towards the center of your mat. Take your left hand and reach back for the right shin, calf, or ankle, whatever you can get a hold of there. Good. Take a deep breath in, look forward, and as you exhale, look back towards that left hand and bend the left elbow. Look under your right armpit. And press back and up with the sit bones. And don't forget to breathe. And then slowly, let's go right to the other side. So place the left hand where the right hand was and slide that right hand back towards the left leg, anywhere you can grab hold of it. Look forward slightly, breathe in. And on your exhale, let's look up underneath the left arm and bend the right elbow. So you're kind of pulling yourself into this awkward twist. You're a little tripod. Keep lifting the sit bones up and back. And breathe. Good, and then release that right hand forward. Let's separate the hands again, mat distance apart. And let the sit bones lift up and back, wide feet still. And then slowly walk the feet back together. And on your next inhale, lift your right foot up into the air behind you. Three-legged downward facing dog. And as you exhale, step the right foot forward between your hands. Help it if you need to, so your right ankle lands beneath your knee. Rotate your left heel down into a warrior two stance. And on your next inhale, lift up into Virabhadrasana 2, warrior two. Adjust your stance if you need to get it a little bit longer or shorter. You don't want to hang into this hip, right? So lift out of the hip joint, and at the same time, let the right knee track forward over the ankle. Torso is kind of twisted at the rib cage, lined up on the long edge of your mat, and you extend your hands away from each other. Soften your gaze out over your right fingertips. Strengthen your arms. Put activity into your arms. Good. Turn your right palm up. Inhale, reach back and over. Reverse. And as you exhale, let's take it into side angle with the forearm on the thigh, sweeping that left arm forward in front of you. And then alongside that left ear, and open the chest towards the ceiling. Keep that right knee tracking forward and activity in the left thigh. And don't forget, the breath is long and steady. If your breath, it's strong, right? It feels long and steady. Starts to become raggedy, right? Back off a little bit. Shorten your stance, right? Maybe take that left hand to your hip. Bring yourself into the steady breath again. And then try for a little more challenge and back off again. So it's always this play, right? So no matter where you are, you're fully there. Good. Now, slowly lift your left hand into the air as you straighten the right knee. Drop the left hand down to the shin or the floor, maybe a block if you use one. You're in Trikonasana, triangle pose. Opening the chest. Softening the gaze up to your left thumb. Not locking the front knee, the right knee. It's a long triangle pose here. Long lengthwise between the feet. And it might feel long in the hold. On your next inhale, push into both feet. Steady, steady, steady as you come up. And lower the arms. Turn the left heel in so both toes are out. And let's bend both knees coming into this sort of horse stance. Some people call this goddess pose. I've been feeling like the term goddess has been getting thrown around a lot. Let's lift the left and right heels. Do that a little bit on each side, one side and then the other. And then see if you are able to lift both heels. Good. And try to do that without, I have a tendency to spill forward. See if you can keep your torso upright. Yes, this is a balancing posture. And lift your heels. If you fall out of it, just take one at a time again. Good. Bring the thumb and fingertips towards each other. Palms lifted away from each other. Hakini Mudra for focus. And breathe. Good. Slowly lower the heels. Sit a little more deeply and breathe. Lift your sternum, broaden across your collarbones, and then slowly straighten both knees. Good. Turn those left toes a little bit further towards the back of the mat. Inch that right heel behind the widest part of your feet. And let's bend the left knee for Virabhadrasana 2 on this side. Warrior 2 on this side. See that you find a little external rotation in that left thigh. It'll help you guide that knee in the same direction as your toes, and that back hip might roll slightly forward if you're feeling tight through the hips. Recognize that each side might be a little bit different. Good. Breathe in here, and on your next exhale, we're going to take the left forearm to the thigh, right arm. Let's sweep it down towards the floor, the hand towards the floor like we did on the other side. And reach it forward alongside your ear. Keep that left knee tracking over the ankle. If it feels like this side is a little bit weaker, you have to remember, you just did the horse stance on this side, right? And so it might feel like you've already exerted it, right? Let's slowly lift that right hand into the air. Drop the left hand towards the floor. Straighten that left knee. You're coming into triangle pose on this side. And again, it's a long triangle. It's a longer stance. With that right hand, keep reaching up towards the ceiling and turn your gaze towards it. But tuck the chin slightly towards that right pectoral muscle a little bit so that you're not jutting the chin up and looking up. Looking with the gaze rather than the chin. Good, and then press into both feet to rise up, lowering your arms. This time parallel your feet. Okay, so inner edges of the feet are parallel. Take your hands behind you. Either interlace your fingers or hook your thumbs. Either one will do. Just trying to find a clasp behind you. So as we move into this forward fold, we get a little opening through the shoulders. If the clasp doesn't work, you can also take a towel or a yoga strap, or you can rest the backs of your hands on your bum as you fold forward into this wide leg forward fold. The top crown of your head might reach the floor because you're so wide through the legs. If your fingers are interlaced, try to press the palms towards each other and straighten your wrists out. Same with the hooks of the thumbs. So if the thumbs are hooked, again, try to press the fingertips up towards the ceiling and straighten through the wrists. Good, and then release your arms towards the floor. Slowly lift yourself halfway up. We're almost done with this wide leg stance. Hang in there. Place your right hand underneath your face. Place your left hand under your face. Apologies. Place your left hand under your face. Take your right hand to the right hip. Take a breath in here. And as you exhale, push into the floor and twist to your right. Soften your gaze up towards the ceiling. Lift the right hand up in the same direction. Breathe in. Squeeze your navel to the right as you exhale. One more time like that. Inhale. And exhale. Lower the right hand down to the floor. Replace the left with it. And take your left hand to your back. Breathe in here. And exhale, now you're twisting to the left. Pushing the floor away to assist that. Your right hip can drop a little bit, that's not a problem. Lift your left arm into the air and breathe. Squeeze your navel around to the left. One more breath in. And out. Good, lower the left hand down. All right, now, what I'd like you to do here is challenge yourself a little bit. So bring the wrists just behind the shoulders. Press the hands into the floor, yep. And then lean into the hands even more. So there's a pretty big flexion at the wrists here. So if this isn't working for your wrists, then please take a sort of a ragdoll stance and then hop your feet together, step your feet together. Otherwise, you're pushing into the hands and leaning shoulders forward. Lift the heels. Lift the sit bones. Try to lift up to the tops, tippy toes. Good. And then next time that you exhale, retain the exhale and hop your feet in together. So deep breath in, leaning forward. Lift the heels. Exhale. push into the floor and hop the feet together. Good. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, fold over your legs. And definitely take ragdoll here. Release the hands from the floor and grab hold of opposite elbows. Good. Release your hands to the floor again. Breathe in as you rise up to stand. All the way up. Feet together in Tadasana or Samasthiti. Feet can be really close together for that. Eyes can be closed for a moment so that you can appreciate what you've been doing here in your body. All right, let's take a quick drop right down into downward facing dog. We're going to move into pigeon pose here. I don't normally do this in the morning classes, so if you want to take pigeon pose on your back, roll onto your back. I'll demonstrate that. Roll onto your back and cross your right ankle over the left thigh and then interlace your hands behind the left thigh. That's one option. The other option is to come into downward facing dog. And as you exhale, bring that right knee forward inside of the right thumb and uncurl the toes behind you. Push into the top of that left foot, the back leg, and the knee points straight down. You might need to prop the right thigh to support yourself in this manner. If you need to prop too much, it's better just to do this if you're at home. If you're trying this at home, it's better to just do this on your back. Take a deep breath in here, wherever you are, and as you exhale, maybe hug that thigh in a little bit further, or if you're in this version, you walk your hands forward and rest your forehead on the backs of your hands. And find your breath here. Reconnect with it. And reestablish that connection to your breath. Good. Now walk your hands back up. If you're on your back, just simply cross, switch the cross. So take, if you're in pigeon pose on the front, step back to down dog, pause. And if you are in pigeon pose on your back, you're going to switch and take the left ankle over the right thigh, pull the right thigh in. We're going to step that left knee forward inside of that thumb. I'm not a big fan. You can uncurl the toes in the back, press into the top of the foot, lift the knee slightly away, and then lower it back down. I'm not a big fan of the whole parallel shin at the front of the mat kind of thing. I feel it brings a little too much incongruency with the knee joint. So I bring that shin back towards the heel, back towards my right hip flexor here in this case. And you're going to breathe in, lift up, and as you exhale, release forward and down. And if you're on your back, you're hugging that right thigh in. And just in case you've lost that connection, reestablish the thread, the tie, the bind between your mind and your breathing pattern. Good. Now slowly walk your hands back again. If you're on your back, you might want one more downward facing dog, or you can hug both knees into your chest. If you come from the front, move back to down dog, inhale forward to plank pose, and we'll meet everybody on our backs. Good. And you come into your back, and we've all got our knees hugged in towards the stomach and chest. Tailbone's releasing towards the floor. Let's take one bound angle version. So take the soles of your feet together, let your knees go wide, and you can even reach under reach through your little shape there, your angles, and take your hands to the outside of your feet. Or grab hold of the heels. Soles of the feet are together, and you're pulling the heels, the feet, towards you, and your elbows are on your inner thighs, pressing the knees away from each other. Shoulders, neck, and head, as much as possible, are resting on the floor. Good, and then slowly release that. Let your legs spread out onto your mat. 1 minute, just a minute. Before you go anywhere, lay on your back. Relax the tops of your shoulders. And breathe. And then deepen your breath, wiggle your toes and fingers, stretch your arms up overhead, stretch each side of your body long, hug your knees into your chest and rock yourself up to sit. Briefly pause. And now rejoin your day or enjoy your day. Either way, it's always great to have you here on Soul Yoga. Please join me on The Soul Collective, the 3-month initial trial. If you sign up for that now, that is going to end on the 31st, which is tomorrow. So do it. Sign up and you get 3 months free yoga, movement, and meditation practices. There's a whole variety there. And if you don't do that by tomorrow, then we have a 1 month trial offer. So have a great day, and thank you so much for joining me.